Welcome back to our continuous coverage of severe weather across our area. We want to show you some of the video that our crews have been gathering throughout the afternoon of some of the damage. Obviously, this is at 41st near Highway 97. Motorcyclist who's having some problems in the high water there. Got to push that motorcycle. Then some damage to a building, a church, I believe. The awning there, some significant damage to that awning.
That's Highway 97 and 41st. And then look over here. This is some power lines down. As you can see, they are working to restore those, but that's at 17th and Southwest Boulevard. But we've had reports all over the area of hail and high winds and power outages, as well as power lines down. So it's been a significant event.
Yeah, and one of the biggest dangers, obviously, is just all the water. Travis says at some point during this storm, 2 inches of rain per hour. Travis, that's a lot of rain. That water doesn't have a lot of places to go.
That is the biggest problem, Craig. It's just tropical, and our storm trackers have said it feels like we're in a hurricane. And Vaughn and Darren have been in multiple hurricanes for us, and they know what it's like. But it is one of those things. This time of year, especially when it's so warm, the atmosphere can hold so much moisture, and when that taps into it with a thunderstorm, that is like just wild. How much moisture is a column of water is just sitting up above us as that is getting pulled up into the thunderstorm, and then it just sits there until all of a sudden comes back down with a downdraft. And as the downdraft starts to occur, because we have updrafts and downdrafts, and then of course the updrafts are where the thunderstorms are forming, downdrafts are when they get so heavy and then they dump all the water. They also bring down cooler temperatures, and that's what we have right now. This is so nice. I don't know if you were out earlier today, but at noon it was a sauna. And we knew it was going to be hot, but I mean, the heat indexes went a shot up to 110. These are our actual temperatures right now. We're in the upper 69 downtown. Oh my goodness. And then 70 at Catoosa. We're at 76 in Wagner, kind of in advanced storms. Look at Pryor, we're at 87, but that gives you an idea of just kind of the difference of what nature's air conditioner can do. And I want you to look to the east and south. You guys that are off to Muskogee, you're still at 91. I don't know what our heat indexes are in those areas. Steven might even show us that, but I mean, with the temperature so nice, this is all the rain cooled air. So I'm going to look at the cups half full. Well, really, it's over full for a few of us. But to give you an idea that overall, these are current heat indexes. Still 107 in Muskogee, 104 in Eufaula. So you can see what's going on. This is just awful heat, stifling heat. And so if these thunderstorms get to your area, you're going to feel a lot better. Let's go back to radar if we can, links for you, and tell you the latest heavy thunderstorms. Now, we've taken out some of the severe thunderstorm warning area. Most of it now is confined to just southern Tulsa and then back into northern Okmulgee County. And we still have multiple areas of very, very heavy downpours of rain across this area. And that goes across northwestern portions of Okmulgee County, and then that extends across eastern Creek County, and just barely clipping the far northeast corner of Okfuskee County. So these are the areas that are still with severe thunderstorms. We still have our warnings in effect. In fact, we can do a check of that, Stacia, and that warning goes until, is that 6 p.m. on this storm? Because they've changed it a little bit. So 5:45. So that'll continue for about another 12 minutes or so to 14, 15, 16 minutes. And as a heavy thunderstorm continues to track to the east-southeast, we're going to be following along with this, because if you're around Okmulgee, you're going to get some downpours of rain. The biggest problem was during the day, was just during the late afternoon hours, is the explosion of the storms. They just sat there. They just rained. Prattville, extending back west of Sand Springs. We're going to look at rainfall totals in a minute, but you can see around the Nuyaka area, we still have intense thunderstorm activity. And this is probably the area, if there's going to be a little bit of hail, that would be the most likely location for that to occur. But at any place in this polygon gives us a pretty good idea of where we're still going to have 60-mile-an-hour winds or more. And that's why we still want you to be aware of what's going on. At this point, we're looking at shear rate. This gives us an indication of where the strongest winds are. And as long as we don't see anything beyond just these greens, once we get into the light greens and then on into the reds, that's when things get a little nasty, and we don't ever get up here. Once you get up into that area, we're basically in tornado world or tornado type damage world. So we're pretty happy that this thunderstorm is just holding off, keeping it a little bit more, or a little bit, you can say it's a minimal severe thunderstorm, but it's still a severe thunderstorm. I say that a lot, and then some people say, you said it was minimal, and it turned out that I had a bunch of branches blowing down. But severe storms are different levels, just like anything else. So severe thunderstorm criteria is just coming up on 60-mile-an-hour winds. And so if you have 60-mile-an-hour wind, and we can have a severe thunderstorm with 80-mile-an-hour winds, and there's a big difference between 60 and 80-mile-an-hour wind with thunderstorms. But this gives you a pretty good indication that we're looking at Nuyaka and extending through portions portions of northwestern Okmulgee County. Let's come back in the Tulsa area because we still are getting moderate to occasionally heavy downpours of rain. I know Vaughn and Darren are out. We're going to talk to them in just a minute. Brandon looks like he's in the middle of traffic with what's going on. Darren is near the Glenpool area. Vaughn, you can see that's still in an area that's just to the west and southwest of Tulsa Hills. And then as we look Broken Arrow, you guys have fared pretty well. We've had some really heavy rains in some of these areas, but it hasn't been too awful bad. Let's first take a look where Vaughn is located and get an update from Vaughn. Can you give us an update on what you have at this time?
Yeah, I just left the Riverside area where it looked like there were several trees that were damaged through the winds that came through earlier. But now I'm getting back into heavy rains as I head on the Creek Turnpike west towards Sapulpa. And this area has been inundated with rain for several hours now. So I imagine there's quite a bit of flooding going on in those low-lying areas. But we're going to head over there and check it out, Travis. Back to you.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it very much. So that's just Vaughn driving in some awful heavy rainfall still going on. Also, we have at this time, Operation Slick Streets are still in effect in the Tulsa area from the Tulsa Police Department. Slick Streets still in operation. Operation Slick Streets, I should say, still going on. So if there's an accident, if you're driving, and we're on KFAQ right now, 1170 on the AM dial. If you have to travel, please check in. Get on that AM dial at 1170. Perfect place to be. You will hear the best and latest information always. And we're talking about conditions, though, that are still favorable for some dangerous issues to going on. We have not had flood rescues at this point, but we'll talk to the news department in just a minute on that. But so far, we've been very fortunate with the amount of rainfall that we've had. So this is looking around the Tulsa Hills area. Stacia just put this up, 4.6 inches. We're going to talk to her about the storm track in a minute, but around the Oakhurst area, 4.5. We're at 5 inches now around the Prattville area. And then even as you go out around the Hayburn Lake area and Kellyville and north of Sapulpa areas, we're pushing 3 to 4.5 inches of rain. So this is another chunk. I'm glad it hasn't lasted a whole lot longer because it's weakening. Otherwise, we'd be very close to an Independence, Kansas deal. And I say Independence, Kansas, because really the worst was just north of Independence. But still, it's at least light outside, so people are a little bit more aware of what they're running into. Darren has been in some of the heaviest of the rains as well. So we're going to talk to Darren briefly. Darren, you're on 75 right now. Can you give me an update where you are and what you have?
Yeah, Travis, you're sitting here at the light at Glenpool on Highway 75, and you're going to like this news. The ditches are full here in Glenpool, and it is raining at your house. So hopefully some of that is running off in your pond. But traffic is back up here on 75. We've been sitting on it for several minutes, and I'm going to estimate it about a mile back up here, southbound side. Northbound side is, pretty normal, but this time of day with rush hour and everything, it's about a mile back up here, 75. Power is on in Glenpool, Travis. But we're headed to severe thunderstorm warning down near Fed. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Darren. You made me a happy rancher. I'm all happy about that. All right, so some water falling in South Tulsa, but it's too much in a few areas. So you can see where Darren's located. You can see where Vaughn is located. Brandon's been following the weather as well in these areas. We have a flood warning still in effect around the Tulsa area. So still, if you can just wait for a little bit longer, that would be great, because most of the areas where we had the flooding potential is around central and western Tulsa County. That's really from the downtown Tulsa area, and then that goes along the Broken Arrow Expressway down to southwest of Woodland Hills Mall, down to ORU, Tulsa Hills Shopping Center, north of Glenpool, so it hasn't really affected this area as much. And then you go back on over from Oakhurst, Berry Hill on the west sides of Tulsa, Sand Springs, Prattville. These are the areas, if you can just wait a little bit longer, I think it's going to make it a lot safer for a lot of people. As we said, Darren's cutting off into some of the thunderstorm activity. We still have a lot of lightning going on in some of these locations. Brandon has been running across areas. Brandon is, where is he stationed right now? He's on the 91st and Yale?
Right there.
Almost Memorial. Okay, 91st. All right. Hey, Brandon, if you're available, I'd like to talk to you for a minute. Anything in South Tulsa, have you had any low spots that have had flooding, water across the roads, anything like that? Or are we doing okay?
Yeah, Travis, right now we seem to be doing okay. The heaviest the rain has pushed off, it's allowed for the barges or the storm drains to catch up. So the rain is not as bad as it was on the roadways, but there are still some low spots that you got to be aware of. So if you're out on your way home from work, take it easy, be careful, bring your headlights on, and you should be fine. We'll stay with you, Travis.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brandon Wells. We greatly appreciate it. So again, as things are still looking okay around the Tulsa area, but it's not great. So we've had a lot to deal with. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get a little bit regrouped so we can get our storm trackers back in place. And we'll be right back with more information and the latest storm track on this storm.